2018, he published Mindful Money Management, Memoirs of a Hedge Fund Manager, which immediately became a bestseller. And today he'll be talking to us about his new book, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, Only the Unconventional Ones. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you would like to have less money. Raise your hand if you would like to have more money. And raise both hands if you want to hear the secrets to having more money. As you heard from Nick, my name is Joel Solomon, and I'm a prosperity coach. And I teach people how to become financially free, so they don't have to work if they don't want to. So what's a prosperity coach? People say to me, Joel, so you're a financial planner, you're a financial advisor? Nope. I don't sell insurance, I don't sell annuities or mutual funds or stocks or bonds. In fact, I don't sell any products, well, except some books. So what does a prosperity coach do? I teach people how to change their mindset around money. Maybe you were taught, we can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees, that's too expensive. Or you were told, like I was when I was a child, when I left the light on in my room and we left the house, you got screamed at, turn that light off. We're not a shareholder of Long Island Lighting Company. Well, that's a lack or scarcity or poverty mindset, and I teach people how to shift to a prosperity mindset. I teach people how to use their intuition to make money, and I also teach people how to, what is an investment? What is a stock? What is a bond? In fact, in my new book, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, I give people the 5-step stock screen that I use to make money, more money than the stock market on average for many years. I also have a 7-step real estate investment screen that you can use. And then the last part of my prosperity coaching modules is all about personal finance, how to reduce your debt, how to improve your savings, what's your financial freedom number, and how to get there. So let's talk about a few of the 9 money rules, a few of those secrets. So write this acronym down, BIG. B stands for beliefs, I stands for intuition, and G stands for that financial advisor named Goldstein. Just kidding. G, today we'll do 2 G's, giving and gratitude. So let's start with beliefs. How many of you believe you can be rich and spiritual? Man, nobody? I know that's a fact, because I know many people who are rich and spiritual. How many of you believe you have to work really hard to be rich and successful? Yeah, I was taught that growing up, and I was taught that by my parents, and I'm pretty sure my parents were taught that by their grandparents. But I know, after I got divorced in 2007 and 2008, starting my first job as a portfolio manager, I worked 75, 80 hours a week. You may remember the stock market was down 40%. Financial stocks, the only stocks I was managing, were down 57%. Okay, I did make a little money that year, but worked really, really hard, and I wasn't rich. Some may say not too successful. And in 2009, I cut the number of hours I worked by half. I had fun with my kids. I even went out on some dates. And I made 10 times the amount of money I made in 2008 and 7 and 6 and 5. You don't have to work hard to be rich and successful. It's just a limiting belief. So let's talk a little bit more about beliefs. 2 guys buy Bitcoin. Anybody hear of Bitcoin? November 27, 2017. The first guy, he's done all his research. He's read the white papers. He knows he's got to make money on Bitcoin. The second guy, well, he got a tip from a buddy of his who says, dude, get involved. It's up 8 times this year. I know it's going higher. He's like, oh, I don't know. It seems speculative. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, the first guy's a 10. He has absolute faith. He knows he's got to make money. The second guy, he's a 1. He pretty well knows he's going to lose money. So they both buy this Bitcoin at $8,000, and a few days later, November 30th, 2017, it's up at $10,000. They both made 25%. The first guy says, see, I told you I was going to make money on Bitcoin. The second guy says, I hope it doesn't go back down. And a few days later, it's back down at $8,000. And the first guy says, this is the best buying opportunity out there. And he buys more. And the second guy, he sells. He is so grateful he didn't lose money on Bitcoin. So I tell my clients, write down your level of belief in each existing investment you have and each potential new investment. And if you're not at 8, 9, or 10, don't go there. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be buying when you should be selling or selling when you should be buying. So anybody remember, what does the letter B stand for? You guys are a smart audience. And I stands for intuition. And I will tell you as a former hedge fund manager, if I didn't trust my intuition, I either lost money or I made less money. So my clients ask me, so Joel, how do I develop my intuition? Well, use it like any other muscle. You go to the gym, you do some curls to develop your bicep. So develop your intuition by using it every chance you get. How? Say you're in Manhattan, you're on the subway platform. The local train is sitting there, but the express is coming in just 2 minutes. What do? Express, local, local, express, what do? Trust your intuition. I play this game with my kids every time I go on vacation. When the hotel, there's a bunch of elevators. Don't look at where it is. Which one's coming first? Use your intuition. Use your gut feel. Figure it out. So, let me tell you a story. Every Thursday morning I have my kids and I take them to school. And we have options. We could take the local roads, we could take the highway, or we could hitchhike. And generally, my intuition is telling me to take the highway. But this one particular morning, it's all backed up with traffic. But my intuition is still telling me to take the highway. But my intellect says local roads. So we go local. And immediately my stomach's in knots. Because I hear the sirens, I see the flashing lights. And because I didn't trust my intuition, it cost me a $150 speeding ticket. And to this day, my daughters tease me and they call me Speedy Pants. Let me give you an investment story related to intuition. So, my first job as a portfolio manager, 2008, at Citigroup. We did research. We saw AIG, the insurance company, was overvalued. We had no idea how bad things were, but we knew it was overvalued. So we short it. We bet it's going to go down. A couple months later, my analyst comes to me. He says, Joel, they're raising capital. It's going back up. Now, my intellect agreed with them, but my intuition was screaming at me, it's going lower. But I listened to my intellect, I listened to my analyst, and we get out. 2 days later, it's down 10%. And my intuition is still screaming at me, it's going lower. So we get back in. And 4 months later, we've made 60% on our money by trusting my intuition. So I stands for intuition. So let's talk about, anybody remember what G stands for?
Goldstein.
No, good looking! Okay, now, we'll start with the first G, rule number 5, giving. Giving creates karma. Anybody know Sir John Templeton? Sir John, some say, is the best investor of all time. He started the Templeton funds in the 1950s with just a few $1,000s. Those funds were sold to the Franklin mutual funds for almost $1 billion in the 1990s. He said he hadn't met anybody who hadn't given at least 10% of his earnings to charities each year over a 10-year period who didn't have massively more wealth at the end of the 10 years than at the beginning. I know what you're thinking. Joel, if I give my money away, I have less money, not more. How does that work? Well, let me explain. Money is energy. And by putting that energy out into the world, it must flow back to you. The other thing that happens when you give is you get this feeling of abundance and prosperity. You feel that you have plenty to spare and share. Bless you. But giving doesn't have to be just about money. You could give to a place in need. You could give your time to a place in need. Maybe you have a special talent. You could share that with the world. Maybe you're passing by a stranger. You could smile or give them a compliment. You could even give maybe an additional time to your favorite charity. Giving can indeed change the world. Let's talk about one more rule, and then if anybody, I'll go through some of the other rules if anybody wants to hear about some of those others. We can talk about those too. But let's talk about gratitude. So this is how the 9 money rules millionaires use starts. It's 105 degrees. It hasn't gone down since you left. Did you give her the cold compresses? Did you give her the children's Tylenol? Yes, we did. Is there anything else we should do? No. We're coming right home. This is the conversation I had with my mom in November 2006. Morgan was not yet 9 months old. So I remember we were on the Upper East Side. We were celebrating my wife's birthday at the time. And we rushed home full of worry and fear, really scared. I tell my clients now that worry is negative future planning. You're thinking about what you don't want to happen, so why not think about what you do want to happen? But back then, I didn't know any of this stuff. So we rush home, really fearful. We get home, and we see Morgan is pale, clearly not herself. We give her more children's Tylenol. We give her more cold compresses. I even gave her a cold bath. And the temperature did go down, but not much. And I remember we called the pediatrician who said if it doesn't go down on Sunday, to bring her to the hospital. Well, it did go down, but on Monday morning we decided we're bringing it to the pediatrician anyway. It was still elevated. And the pediatrician took one look at Morgan, knew her history, and said, get to the hospital, she needs surgery. So we rushed to the hospital. Talked to the surgeon and said, is there anything else, any other option, instead of operating on our beautiful 9-month-old daughter? He said no. And nothing could prepare us for Morgan getting hooked up to all those wires and the IV tube. And then what was worse is the doctor couldn't hold her down when he had to put the mask over her nose and mouth to put her out. So he asked us to hold her down. I don't remember exactly when those tears stopped flowing, but I remember they kicked us out of the room. We were out of control. We had to give up control to the doctor. And to me, it felt like many days, but I'm sure it was just a couple of hours, when the doctor came out and said, Morgan's operation was a success. She's through with flying colors. She's going to be fine. But then again, when she came out of the operating room, still with all those wires and the IV tube in her and still so pale, we just weren't prepared for it. Now, I look back on those days, and that day in particular, with gratitude. Why? Because I'm so grateful, first of all, that Morgan came through that operation with flying colors, but also because I have a beautiful, caring, thoughtful, healthy 13-year-old daughter. So who can you be thankful for? And what can you be thankful for? And maybe you could be even thankful for some pain and suffering that's happened in your life. I tell my clients to write down every day 5 things they're grateful for in the morning and 5 things they're grateful for at night. So what are you grateful for? Start a gratitude journal tonight. Martin Seligman, in his New York Times bestseller Flourish, talked about the actual physical benefits in your brain of gratitude. And he did a study, had people write down 5 things they're grateful for every night before they went to sleep, and wrote down why. And the synapses in their brain actually expanded because of that gratitude. So that's why gratitude is my rule number 5 in the 9 money rules millionaires use. Now, before I end it, I'd like you to take out your phones. Everybody take out their phones. This is real. And I want you to text to the number,
It's in my office.
oh man, 66866. The number 66866. You're going to get the 5 mistakes that new millionaires make. It's a white paper I wrote. It will change your life. So to the number 66866, 9 money rules. One word, not the number, but 9, the word, N-I-N-E, money rules. You text that to 66866, and it'll ask you for your email, and then you'll get that white paper within a few minutes. So I went over 4 of the 9 money rules. Anyone interested in any of the other 5? We talked about beliefs, we talked about intuition. We didn't talk about visualization, rule number 3. Rule number 4 is happiness. We talked about 5, which is gratitude. 6 is giving. But 7, 8, and 9 are budgeting, because 80% of millionaires budget, by the way. 8 is do it yourself, DIY investing. And 9, don't diversify. Anybody want to hear a little bit about any of those other rules?
Don't diversify?
Don't diversify. Okay, let's talk about that. So, as a hedge fund manager between 2008 and 2016, if you check my performance, anywhere between the top 5 and top 15 stocks may be more than 100% of my return. So the other 60, 70, 80 stocks at Citigroup in 2009, I had 110 stocks at the peak, hurt my performance. So I recommend not diversifying, concentrating your investments, because it's really hard to find 100 great ideas, or 60 or 70 or 50. I don't know what the right number is for you. Use your intuition. But there is a right number that's not 100 or 60 or 70. And you can concentrate and make a lot more money. I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos, who's CEO of Amazon, doesn't diversify into 100 or 200 retail stocks. He has all his net worth in Amazon. He's worth 150 billion. So the smartest, best investors, the best businessmen in the world, they don't diversify. Charlie Munger, some may know, is Warren Buffett's right-hand man, said, if you know nothing about stocks, diversify. So if you know nothing, buy the index. But I think you guys are better than that. You can use my 5-step stock screen in my book to become financially free and to just invest in a few stocks. Thank you.